Right, what's up, YouTubers out there? Appreciate you looking at this video here. As you can see, this is a box of sports cards that I had laying around, and I said one day I'm going to go through them and take a look and see if I got any gems in them. So we're probably going to split this one up into different segments. I'm going to just start this first segment today. I'm not going to hold it long, probably about 2 or 3 minutes. So let's go through here and see if we got any gems real quick. All right, first up we have Miguel DeLong, outfielder, Cleveland Indians. Next up we have Bob Knepper of the Houston Astros. I think he wound up being an announcer or something like that. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Next up, my boy, I used to love him when he played. Dennis Eckersley, Boston Red Sox legend. Next up, I know you remember him. And they got some of the sharpest uniforms and hats out there. That's Tippy Martinez, the Baltimore Orioles. Next up, my man, bless you boys, Sparky Anderson, manager, Detroit Tigers. He's a legend. Got to get him in a sleeve or something now. Like I said, I haven't looked at these in a long time. Next up, Alan Trammell. Being from Detroit, I used to go see the Tigers games. I used to love the way announcers called their name. Up to bat, Alan Trammell. Next up, New York Yankees. Greg Nettles. Don't know too much about him. Next up, Rudy May, pitcher, New York Yankees. Next up, John Urea, pitcher, San Diego Padres. Next up, Glenn Abbott, pitcher, Seattle Mariners. Those were some cool uniforms they had back in the day. I don't know if they still rock those from time to time on throwback days in MLB, but those were cool. Next up, Dave Frost, pitcher. Almost said Anaheim Angels, but they used to be called the California Angels at that time. These are all Donruss, the year 1982 cards. Next up, Dale Lonser, outfielder, Philadelphia Phillies. Next up, Jay Johnston, outfielder, Los Angeles Dodgers. Next up, this is from a different year. And I know you remember him. I didn't know he played for the Padres too. Ryan Klesko. Next up, Mike Proley, pitcher, Philadelphia Phillies. Next up, and I hate that this happened to them moving out of Oakland, is Dwayne Murphy, outfielder, Oakland A's. Next up, pitcher, New York Yankees, Joe Cowley. Next up, he's a legend. Bam, Roger Clemens, pitcher. What is this? 1986 All-Star commemorative set. Next up, Dale Berra, infielder, Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't know if they still rock those uniforms or not. Next up, I didn't know he played for the Indians too, is Dennis Eckersley, once again. Next up, I know he's in the Hall of Fame, Jim Thome. I wanted to say Minnesota Twins. I thought he played for the Twins, but I guess he played for the Cleveland Indians. Next up, Ed Whitson, pitcher, San Francisco Giants. Next up, these were cool when they used to do the manager cards. John McNamara, manager, Cincinnati Reds. Next up, 1986 All-Star, Teddy Higuera of the Milwaukee Brewers. Next up, I remember hearing this name, and I was sad when they traded him there too. Well, no, actually, we did get him from San Francisco and Detroit. No, this is Yeah, this is him playing in the Detroit uniform. I forgot their road uniforms look like the San Francisco Giants road uniforms. But that's Lance Parrish, catcher of Detroit Tigers. Next up, no, he's in the Hall of Fame. Kirby Puckett, outfielder of the Minnesota Twins. Next up, man, I gotta get these put in cases. Ricky Henderson, rest in peace, of the Yankees. I didn't know he played for the Yankees too. I thought he always spent his career with the Oakland A's. Next up, Philadelphia Phillies, Dick Ruthven, pitcher. Next up, boom. That's all you think about when I see his name. Dave Renfield, outfielder, New York Yankees. Next up, New York Yankees outfielder, Jerry Humphrey. Next up, I'm sure he's in the Hall of Fame, Wally Joyner, pitcher, California Angels. And I'm going to call them the California Angels for these videos. Next up, and he was cool when he stepped at the bat. He was one of the coolest players to me. Tony Armas, outfielder, Oakland A's. Next up, who could forget this name? Don Money, third baseman, Milwaukee Brewers. Next up, he's a legend, Phil Niekro of the Atlanta Braves. Next up, Rupert Jones, outfielder, San Diego Padres. Here's another manager card. Man, these were cool. Gene Mauch, manager, California Angels. Next up, I think he's in the Hall of Fame, Steve Carlton, pitcher, Philadelphia Phillies. Next up, he had a cool name, Sixto Lezcano, outfielder, St. Louis Cardinals. Next up, pitcher, and I think he's doing something big. Somebody leave this in the comments. Brian Kingman. I want to say he's a manager or something now of a team. Correct me if I'm wrong. Next up, New York Mets pitcher, Neil Allen. Next up, I used to love the Kansas City Royals. Rennie Martin, pitcher, Kansas City Royals. Next up, New York Yankees, Rick Ruschel, pitcher. Any of y'all remember any of these legends? And they had the coolest. I don't know why they changed them, but the Chicago White Sox had some killer uniforms back in the day. Richard Dotson, pitcher. And we have Mike Marshall, pitcher, New York Mets. One more, and I think we already had him, so we're going to do a bonus one after this one. That's manager Gene Mauch, manager California Angels. And let's just pull one more at random here. I remember these glasses on this dude. Chicago Cubs outfielder Leon Durham. So that's going to be it for this particular video. I'm going to do a part 2 to this one here probably in the next few minutes. So make sure you subscribe and watch out for it. Thank you.